Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's This Just In. We decided to do it live a little early this week due to the pretty nasty weather, the whole of the Northeast.
Right, we were just going to pre-record it and post it up to Facebook, but we said, since we're recording it anyways, we might as well go live. So yeah, we're joining you live from the middle of a blizzard,
Pretty
essentially.
much,
It's
yeah.
really horrible out. We don't expect anyone to come into the shop today, so we're taking advantage of that. We're gonna put out this video and then try and clean things up and get home and get warm.
Yeah, we're planning on closing up shop at 5 p.m., which means, unfortunately, our tabletop night, it'll be back next week, next Thursday. So you have plenty of opportunity to get on the tables here at the Freakopolis Geekery. But yeah, for today, we're going to do this. We're going to let you guys know all the awesome new things that arrived to the Geekery and comic shops worldwide this week, as well as some gaming stuff, which is very exciting. Always nice to get a new
Yeah,
selection of game stuff in.
some new stuff and some cool restocks.
Yep, definitely. So yeah, we hope to get through this show without freezing, and then yeah, go home to our dog and upload some stuff to our YouTube channel.
Yeah, do some uploading and maybe some live streaming from the house. We'll see.
Mm.
Something people can join in or check out what we're doing.
Very cool. So, as always, with this just in, I think we can get into the meat of the show, which is telling you about all the awesome new stuff that arrived at the Freakopolis Geekery this week. And although this did not arrive this week, it's sort of placed throughout the month.
Yeah, and it's important that we kind of keep reminding people because this is the reason for this show, really.
Mm-hmm.
Previews Magazine, the comic shop catalog, how you find out about what will be in shops, not today, but coming up in the next couple of months, usually about 60 days out. So it alerts you to every single last thing that's possible. It's like a phone book, this thing. This is the amount of stuff that can come and be made available to you in Previews Magazine. So it gives you a synopsis of every upcoming title, of every piece of cool merchandise. I mean, it's not the only distributor that we have, but it is a very major pop culture distributor carrying most of the stuff.
Yeah, the vast majority of the stuff we talk about on this just in can be found in previews. You can get one here at the Freakopolis Geekery for free if you pre-order $25 worth of books. And we offer a pretty sweet reward system for our customers too. So
Right. So just to make sure that as you spend money with us here at the Geekery, you're also collecting points that you can use towards yeah, discounts, free items, and other cool stuff. So we highly recommend doing a previews order. It's also the only way to make sure that out of the thousands and thousands of things that are available, that you get the things that you specifically want.
definitely. And it's, yeah, I go through it every month. It's a great read, and I always find something new and interesting worth checking out and picking up. And, if I'm getting my books from there, it
And
must
one
be
of the
worth
coolest
checking
things that we
out.
check out every single month is how much one of everything is.
That's right. One of everything this month is $69,538.51. That's if
So,
you want one of every single item in this book.
right. So shoot us a message on Facebook. Let us know you'd like one of everything, and we'll set you up.
Yeah, you'll go straight to our highest level ordering manager.
All right. So anyhow, even if you don't want one of everything, even if there's only a few things you're looking for, this is the best way to get them and to make sure that we reserve them for you behind the counter so that when you come in, we can just say, hey, your stuff is here.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. So getting into some comics, this is the first new comic book day of 2018. It's finally here. And we like to start off, as always, with some DC stuff.
DC Comics, yeah. So Superman, continuing along.
With their Super Sons of Tomorrow mini-series that has been crossing over between a few different titles, but it's landed back with Superman.
Yeah, so sort of, I know, in this case, Batman has come from the future. The sort of Batman of tomorrow has come back to the current time, and he's trying to take out Superman's son
Mm-hmm.
because he believes that he's responsible for millions of deaths at some point in the future. And now he's gone ahead and gotten sort of the Titans of tomorrow, and he's bringing them back in order to fight the current day Teen Titans and perhaps others, probably Superman.
Yeah.
Um,
Very interesting. There's a sort of a Days of Future Past homage going on there on the
Yeah.
cover with the the wanted posters all X'd out, and I really like future Batman's bat trench coat.
Right. Yeah, and I think this is probably the last issue of the arc,
in the
right?
miniseries.
Yeah,
Very cool. We also have a new Justice League where, in this case, it looks like Batman's wanted for the murder of someone.
yep, exactly. So, yeah, Batman dealing with sort of he's being hunted as a criminal at this point.
And that's Justice League number 36. And finally, from DC, on the shelves at the Freakopolis Geekery this week, new Nightwing.
Nightwing 36, and Nightwing's an interesting example, and the reason I wanted to include it in this image is because it's a title that we don't normally stock on the shelf.
No.
But there's a lot of big Nightwing fans out there.
Yeah, he's awesome.
And this title continues along, and it's important that people realize that you could be getting this title. This is issue 36 of Nightwing. It's of course Dick Grayson, no longer being Batman's Robin, but off on his own, being Nightwing, and sort of being pretty awesome on his own.
Yeah, I love Dick Grayson as Nightwing. But yeah, as you said, this is something that somebody specifically asked for. A lot of the stuff that we get into the Freakopolis Geekery doesn't necessarily make it to the shelves because so many people are pulling it that it goes straight behind the counter into the pull box for those people with pre-order lists. So we do some highlights for this just in.
Yeah. I mean, it's even to the fact that sometimes, we'll order extras for the shelves, but during the sort of month or two that goes by the time it delivers, enough people have come in and said, "Hey, can you put those aside for me when they come in?" And so none of them ever make it to the shelf.
Yeah.
So a lot can happen. The only way to guarantee it is to pre-order.
Absolutely. We have some more DC up next with man, they're really on that Batman train lately.
Yeah, these are the Batman titles that we got in this week.
Plus those other 3 books.
Right.
But yeah, up first is Tom King's pretty amazing run of the traditional title Batman so far, with Batman, the origin of Bruce Wayne. And now it might sound as though it's telling, a retelling of Bruce as a child and stuff. It's not. It's Bruce sort of mentoring this kid who has gone through similar circumstances. His parents were killed, and now he's looking for a mentor, and Bruce Wayne steps into that role.
Yeah, and that's definitely an interesting Batman story, and I think to some degree it's meant for him to reflect on what if things had been different for him,
Definitely.
as a kid. So, yeah, Tom King's story is definitely a different kind of Batman story.
Yeah, and so we've stepped away from Selena Kyle and the rules of engagement to do this sort of one-shot, which I thought was a really solid issue that, yeah, definitely looks at the origins of Bruce Wayne through the lens of this young Gotham kid. We also have a number 1. It's a Dark Knight's Metal tie-in.
It's a tie-in of Dark Knight's Metal. So those things are just continuing along, and finding new route in the DC universe, all spawned out of Dark Knight's Metal.
And that is Batman and the Signal, number 1.
Batman and the Signal, number 1, and I don't want to get too deeply into this title because Ian does quite a nice little review of this, a video review that you'll see posted in the next day or so, where he gets into it pretty well as to what exactly is going on in Batman and the Signal. But it's a cool new character, the Signal is, and it's really cool that Batman is mentoring another one.
Yeah, this one I think turns out better than in the traditional Batman run. But yeah, Ian did a nice little review. We'll have that up soon. The Signal has a really cool power that has me pretty excited for this little mini-series.
Yeah, it's a power that I hadn't really
heard of.
Yeah, I hadn't really
Yeah.
seen, at least not described in the way that they do. So no spoilers here, but Ian will probably spoil it a little bit in his review.
There's a lot of coming out of DC that ties into the fallout from Dark Knight's Metal, introducing a lot of really interesting and exciting looking new characters with interesting power sets and stuff. So you'll be hearing a lot about those. We'll probably be doing single issue reviews, as well as, of course, talking about them here on This Just In. Up next, another Batman title, Batman White Knight, gets its 4th issue. This is a title that's sort of off on its own. It's in its own continuity. And in this case, the Joker is taking the fight to Batman as a reformed sort of Gothamite hero, I guess. The Joker in this book is sort of a hero and is trying to take down Batman through more citizen-like means, I guess. He's using courts and public opinion to turn people against Batman.
Yeah, and as we've seen recently in several different titles, like Daredevil, you got the Mayor Fisk things going on. In Harley Quinn, you had Harley running for mayor of New York.
Yep.
And in this one, Jack Napier, sort of Daredevil's alter ego as a...
The Joker's alter ego.
Joker's alter ego as a regular guy, running for political office in order to cause Batman some problems.
Yeah, and it's been a really pretty awesome book so far. Sean Murphy himself, the creator, artist, writer, is going to be at Empire State Comic-Con this spring, and we might, hopefully we'll take advantage of that and get to talk to him a little bit.
And I think as as comics tend to reflect current times, the writers of comics tend to sort of, examine what's going on in the world and sort of reflect those in a new way in their own writing. We see that going on in this title. The sort of political infighting and manipulation of the public by media,
right?
That sort of thing.
Yeah, those comic writers, they always have their finger on the button of society on the whole, I think.
Right, and I think it's important. And I think it's important that, that comics do just that and sort of expose you to new ideas. And that's going on in Batman White Knight. And I'm excited for it.
Definitely. So that's all our Batman titles that hit the shelves this week. But the other big publisher, Marvel, is putting out some really good stuff as well. In Captain America number 697, getting real close to that 700th issue, we've got Kraven there on the front.
Yeah, and Kraven, he's been hanging out with dealing with Venom, I think, recently. But now he's set his sights on good old Captain America.
Yeah.
And his intent is to hunt and kill Captain America.
And as we know, the cover doesn't always tell you what's on the inside. And I doubt he puts his head on a plaque.
I don't think so, but you never know. But I don't think so.
Right. But this is a book written by Mark Waid, a longtime Marvel writer, and really just a very prominent industry mainstay. And I think he really gets Captain America, and he's made it sort of this almost Silver Agey, campy American sort of style.
Yeah, and the art reflects it as well.
Yeah,
the art definitely has a feel. It has a really cool kind of retro feel to it. Modern techniques, but with a retro homage.
Definitely. We also have a new Iron Fist number 76 with Sabretooth Round 2. This is the... So Iron Fist and Sabretooth had teamed up for some time. They've now made their way to Kunlun, which, of course, Danny Rand, the Iron Fist, is the protector of, because it's being invaded by this group of Kung Fu masters. And this is just an action-packed issue full of tons of crazy Kung Fu fight scenes, the Sabretooth, busting heads. And it's the second-to-last issue, I believe, in this arc. So after the next one, we'll be getting a new sort of Danny Rand Iron Fist series probably without the Sabretooth.
It's such an interesting sort of dichotomy in that Danny Rand and Iron Fist are so precise in their fighting style, and everything is highly trained and very super precision in strikes and kicks and all of that stuff. compared to Sabretooth, who's
Yeah,
just an
clawing
animal and
and yeah, breaking
and,
necks.
and yeah, just a frenzy kind of thing. So it's a neat combination.
Yep, and they play off each other quite a bit throughout these past few issues. It's been a solid run. I think Ed Brisson's got a really cool book on his hands. I think this is a Marvel book that sort of flies under the radar. That's actually really solid.
Yeah, it's been doing pretty well. I mean, we've noticed that some people are picking it up off the shelf here,
Hmm.
in addition to those who reserve it. So, it's definitely an up and coming title.
Yeah. Up next, the X-Men, who have a lot of books out at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, and you have to wonder, like, is the popularity of the X-Men with Marvel right now because Disney has managed to pull the X-Men back underneath sort of the overall, Marvel umbrella, where sort of the licensing rights for X-Men had kind of escaped them.
Yeah, very true. I think after they really pushed Inhumans for a while there in both the comics, and obviously they had that miniseries out this fall. But I don't think many people took to them, so they're falling back to the X-Men as sort of the non-Avengers half of their universe.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
That's the
Right.
basics of it.
Yeah, so I mean, several different titles, all sort of taking an interesting direction.
Hmm.
They're different sort of X teams dealing with different things. Astonishing X-Men, I don't know, kind of maybe, I mean, Professor X can be sort of a dark character sometimes, and it
Sure.
seems like maybe they're trying to explore some of that, some of his sort of darker side, and his choices. He's a very powerful guy, and he makes choices that may not be the popular ones all the time.
Yeah, and he's come to heads with many of his team members in the past over things like that. But he always has a plan in mind. He has his own motives, which I think are generally acceptable.
Yeah, he's generally a good guy.
Yeah, but you might not be the most apparent, and I think that's what's happening in Astonishing X-Men, where he has been captured by the Shadow King, and or sort of is playing a game with the Shadow King, and a certain set of X-Men have gone in there to participate in that game. We also have a new X-Men Gold, which is one of the two, I would say, main titles. We have X-Men Blue and X-Men Gold. This week we get X-Men Gold number, what's it, 17? 19? Something
Number
like that.
19.
Yeah. Which is sort of the more traditional. It's currently the X-Men team that is living in the X-Mansion. It's Colossus, Kitty Pryde, Storm, Nightcrawler. So definitely some familiar names, but maybe not the original team. But they are the ones that are teaching the young mutants and
Right.
sort of heading up the.
Sort of living X-Men style.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then the last one being Phoenix Resurrection, which is sort of a new title. I believe this is a six-issue miniseries, I think. And we're on issue 2 at this point. And Phoenix is sort of appears to be coming back around. And it's sort of, I believe, involves a fusion of all of the available sort of X-Men teams.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. This is sort of Marvel's big X-Men event right now. There's an issue coming out every week until it's done. And yeah, the Phoenix coming back to the Marvel Universe is a pretty big deal.
Yep. So I mean, and it is Jean Grey. It's not some alternate character. So
No,
uh,
we'll have the return of the original Wolverine, the return of Phoenix, and the soon-to-be return of Professor X pretty soon here within the next couple months. So our X-Men titles will be looking quite a bit more familiar, I
yeah, exactly.
think.
The legacy thing is coming true.
Yeah. Nice. So that does it for Marvel this week, but Image is also putting out some really cool stuff with The Walking Dead number 175, Brave New World Order, part 1 of 6. So I don't want to give away too much, I guess, but I kind of have to. So the tangent of people that left Alexandria have now arrived to where they thought they were going, and it turns out these people where they've traveled to are pretty well set up. There's a city of about 50,000 people. There's a paramilitary group, and I think they were really surprised at that. But it was a really, I think, exciting world building. Making the scope of The Walking Dead quite a bit larger in this first issue of 6.
Yeah, I mean this is it's maybe what looks to me like the first true new arc of The Walking Dead, where the world is changed, at least to the experience of the main characters. They're seeing something they've never seen before in their entire experience of dealing with the zombie apocalypse.
I would say that's probably fair. In the past 25 issues or so, they've been dealing with some minor antagonists. They've been dealing with the fallout of all-out war. But now there's a whole the world just got a lot bigger in this issue, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, and this paramilitary group certainly looks sort of prepared to deal with the Walking Dead, or the zombies.
Yeah, we see them take on a horde in this issue, and they do it pretty handily. So we also have another sort of undead book coming out of Image this week with the Gravediggers Union #3, written by Wes Craig, traditionally the penciler for Rick Remender's Deadly Class, but he's taking on a writing role in this story that tells about this blue-collar union that is on the hunt to defend the world from supernatural enemies and incursions.
Yeah, and I like everything about this book. I think this is just an awesome book, and Wes Craig has proven to be, he's definitely not the same sort of writer that Rick Remender is.
No, I would say not.
But his writing is clear, it's fun, and he's telling an interesting story from a new angle that you haven't really seen before, and the art is just, it's also a lot of fun. This is just a really good title right now.
Yeah, definitely kind of exploded on the scene. Toby Cypress on art has a really unique style that makes for a pretty wacky world that they're dealing with in here.
Personally, I mean, I love Cypress's work on this title. Love it. But I would also love to see Wes Craig do a book, at least one issue on his own.
Luckily, we get those few first pages that give sort of this cryptic background story on the world on the whole that are by Wes Craig, but it's only like, maybe 2 pages an issue, but it is nice to see his touches in there. But yeah, just to see him do those characters that now we're beginning to get to know would be really cool.
Yep.
We also have a new Extremity this week with Extremity issue 10. This is Daniel Warren Johnson's sort of pet project. There's only 2 issues left. It's only going to 12 issues, but I think it was probably my favorite book of 2017. It deals with sort of this post-apocalyptic world with this sort of steampunky fantasy vibe to it. These 2 warring factions are, just really at each other's throats, and this young girl, Thea, is sort of in the middle of it, trying to determine where she lives in this world.
I would say one of my favorite things about this particular book is the sort of visualizations of vehicles and machinery and those sorts of things.
Yeah.
They're sort of reimagined for the purposes of this. Also, Mike Spicer's colors are phenomenal and sort of give the whole thing a tone and character it's quite distinct from virtually every other book out there.
Yeah, it's really a dream team. Daniel Warren Johnson on pencils, Mike Spicer on colors. Really, probably 2 of the best in my opinion. So no wonder this book was my favorite book of 2017.
Yeah, it definitely has a great talent on it. It's highly recommended. The trade paperbacks. I'm sure there'll be a volume 2.
Yeah, it's gonna be 2 volumes
once we get the 12 issues out.
Let me see. I just want to check and see if we have the first one in stock. But we can move on.
Sure, and we're going to talk about one more thing from Image, which is the Elsewhere Volume 1 trade paperback.
That's right. This collects issues 1 through 4 of Elsewhere, which deals with, what if Amelia Earhart, when she was lost in the Bermuda Triangle actually ended up in this alien world, and maybe some of the other people that have disappeared through aviation and things like that also ended up there.
This is just a sort of fun, rip-roaring adventure. The Amelia Earhart character is awesome, a great female lead. She is lots of fun. She's highly confident, and yet seems vulnerable and like she has to be careful in order to continue surviving in this alien scenario. They keep popping up new creative ideas and locations and challenges for her and the people around her to deal with.
Yeah, this was definitely a favorite book of mine. Glad to see it got collected. As you said, Amelia Earhart makes for a really awesome female lead, and yeah, I mean for $9.99, right? For the first, it's a pretty good deal.
It's a great book.
Yeah.
It's highly recommended.
I just want to mention we do have that first volume of Extremity in stock, so you can get most of the way caught up before the second volume lands, and then. Well, then we'll just be looking for what Daniel Warren Johnson's doing next.
Yeah, maybe we'll end up talking to him here at the Geekery. He seems like the sort of person we'd like to talk to.
Yeah, definitely. Very nice. Up next, some trades from Marvel, which are not necessarily new, but they are new to the Freakopolis Geekery. They're now in stock, and I think they're appropriately now in stock because Runaways has been a huge hit for Amazon Video, or Hulu rather. Excuse me.
Yeah, and I think one of the cool things about this is we do mention that these are books from the early 2000s.
Yeah,
they collect comics from the early 2000s, so it's kind of a re-release of these titles.
But they're written by the creator, Brian K. Vaughan.
Brian K. Vaughan is the writer on the second one, on the one on the right. The first one on the left is Joss Whedon.
Right.
So what amazing talent they ended up attaching to Runaways, and it certainly goes to show why it's something that made it to the small screen and is doing so well on Hulu.
This is basically a group of young, superpowered people who find out that their parents are sort of the bad guys in this world. They're all from different walks of life, but they run away together after finding out that dark secret that their families have to try and find themselves and live together.
Yeah, it makes good reason that why they would run away. But yeah, and they have some amazing powers themselves. So it's something that they need to explore and grow up and mature. And so yeah, Runaways, it's back again. There's a current new run of this, as well as the trade paperbacks from the previous run, which was so successful and so popular.
Yeah, it was huge. Very nice. Up next, we have some comic boxes new to the store. These are short boxes, which I think generally hold like 150 books, something like that. And these ones in particular are, as you see here, Joker and Harley Quinn arted, themed.
Yeah, I mean, this is something new. I mean, only the past year or two have there been these really beautifully done graphical comic boxes. In the past, you always had short boxes and long boxes. They were basically just white cardboard and didn't have any sort of style. They didn't have any connection to what was inside. They didn't have any excitement to them at all.
No.
The new genre of comic boxes is these super high quality graphical printed boxes, so that even once you get your books protectively inside and put away, you still have sort of an awesome reflection of what's inside there. So in this case, the Joker and Harley Quinn. I mean, what a classic image they've got showing on this thing.
Yeah, that has to be. Oh my God, he's escaping my mind now. Well, when I think of it, I'll let you guys know who did that art piece. But yeah, so you bag and board your comics, you slip them in there, and they're all kept safe in this beautiful package for you.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I do like the short boxes better because, frankly, a full long box is incredibly heavy.
It's got to weigh like 30 pounds at least, 40.
Yeah, maybe more, yeah.
And it's just inconvenient.
They're super heavy. These shorter boxes with the graphics are just a really, really nice way to store your comics.
Alex Ross.
Okay.
That's who I was thinking of.
Okay, so the other thing that we've got in this week is a new Daredevil statue from the Marvel Gallery series. This is a cool statue. This is a classic Daredevil in the sort of hot red suit.
Yeah, pretty classic. He's got his batons with him, and I get the feeling that they're sort of posable.
It's a diorama piece. There, he's got a backdrop. He's got other scenic elements that make him appear to be in sort of a gritty city night scene going on.
Yeah, yeah.
It's very cool. You should come in and check it out in the box. They're super affordable and a great way to sort of decorate your living room, your man cave, woman cave, whatever it is.
Right. Yeah, Daredevil's a favorite of mine, and Marvel Gallery statues. I think they're like 1/10 scale. They're pretty significantly tall. They're almost about a foot or so. So those are super cool, and they're at a pretty awesome price point. So glad to see Daredevil getting his own.
And then the last thing that we wanted to mention before taking off out into the blizzard, some cool restocks that we got this week.
Yeah, these just arrived today. We have Betrayal at the House on the Hill and Betrayal at Baldur's Gate, two of our favorite. Betrayal at Baldur's Gate actually won our 2017 Best Board Game Award that we put out in that infographic yesterday, but tons of replayability. Can't recommend those games enough.
Yeah, both of those games have been some of the most popular ones that we've had here at the Geekery, and for good reason. They're just awesome games. We love playing them. We can't recommend them highly enough. You would love playing them with your family or friends. Absolutely guaranteed.
We also got a new brick of Star Trek HeroClix. That is the ship-to-ship HeroClix version.
Yeah, Star Trek Tactics,
Tactics,
is
yes.
the name of this, and it's basically the ships from Star Trek Attack Wing, but with the HeroClix rules and HeroClix bases. They come in blind boosters. They're very affordable at $4.99 a piece. And we have a lot of fun playing this game here in the store, and they're just an excellent fun collector item. We haven't seen too many like super rares yet,
No.
so we keep hoping to see. People tend to open their ships here in the store, and we're waiting to see something. We've seen some uncommon ones, but I haven't seen anything that's way out of the ordinary. So we're hoping this brick shows us something really super cool.
We also got two boxes of, or two different sets of Star Wars Destiny Awakenings, the very first set released in Empire at War. This is ahead of next week's release of Star Wars Destiny Legacies, the brand new set. But we know that there's some players out there still looking for some cards out of these two sets, and very excited to have them in. I think I'm going to grab a couple of boxes of, rather, packs of Awakenings today. And yeah, so those are here for any of our Destiny players. We play Destiny every Friday night with tournaments about every 3 weeks or so.
Yeah, this is a great way to, we brought these in so that people could sort of make sure they fill out their decks as they want to. The ones that are coming out end of next week will, of course, be involved in some upcoming drafts and those sorts of things that are going on. But people still love getting, you won't be able to get the cards and dice that are in these sets in that new set, so we figured it makes good sense to have all of them here that we could get.
Definitely. We should mention anybody that pre-ordered a Star Trek Attack Wing Federation versus Klingon starter set. We'll have one for you. Unfortunately, we don't have enough to, just throw them up on the internet and let everybody get their hands on one. But if you did your due diligence and pre-ordered from us, we have one for you in stock. They look awesome and can't wait to see them and see most of you guys for Star Trek Attack Wing on Sunday.
Right, we did get them in. We do have them available for our pre-orders. We didn't include them in our images or really in the This Just In series of stuff that we talk about because we're not going to have any on the shelf at this point. But we're working on that and hope to have more ASAP.
We're keeping an eye out for sure. Thank you guys so much for joining us for this week's episode of This Just In. We'll be closing in just about 45 minutes here due to the inclement weather. Tell your friends so they don't get too mad at us, and stay safe out there. We'll see you at one of our upcoming events, either this weekend or next, or maybe during one of our live streams throughout this week.
See you guys.
Thanks, guys.